Tonight, our special transmission as the planned retaliatory attacks by the US on Iran backed militia raise concerns of a wider Middle East conflict. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Zahra Sayed. In a developing story, a Mississauga mosque has been targeted on Monday. Mosque footage shows an individual hurling large rocks, shattering its windows during early hours. No injuries have been reported. Police are treating this as a hate crime, and investigations are underway. The National Council of Canadian Muslims says it is in close communication with the mosque's officials, including the imam, as well as Peel Police. The group says the timing of this incident coincides with the anniversary of the Quebec City shooting. It says it is an unsettling reminder that the mosques remain vulnerable and violent Islamophobia persists in Canadian communities. Today is the 117th day since Israel started its indiscriminate war on Palestine. Palestinian health ministries report 118 Palestinians have been killed and 190 wounded in Gaza in the past 24 hours. The Israeli military has intensified its operations in Khan Yunis, targeting hospitals which they claim are being used by Hamas as bases for resistance. Israeli forces have stormed Al Amal Hospital in Khan Yunis, resulting in at least 10 critical injuries. Evacuation areas to the west are continuously under Israeli military attacks. Over 30,000 displaced people near Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis face dire conditions with no access to water nor food. The Palestinian Health Ministry has urgently called on the United Nations for intervention. The World Health Organization says children in southern Gaza have access to only 2% or less of the recommended daily water consumption. Reports indicate that the Israeli military is tactically withdrawing from Gaza City along a specific axis. Israeli forces have detained an 82-year-old woman with Alzheimer's from Gaza, labeling her as an unlawful combatant. At the time of writing, the Palestinian death toll stands at 27,019. Another 8,000 Palestinians are believed to be dead under the rubble. Israel's revised death toll stands at 1,139. A United Nations investigation has unveiled that Israeli forces most likely deployed a 1,000-pound bomb in the recent strike on a compound housing British doctors in southern Gaza. The report says that the Israeli attack on January 18th probably involved an Mk-83 bomb guided by a GBU-32 kit, converting freefall bombs into precision-guided missiles. These revelations intensify scrutiny of the US and the UK arms sales to Israel. The report indicates that it is possible the weapons from both countries may have been used in the assault. The State Department and the UK's Department of Business and Trade have not commented on the report. UK's Medical Aid for Palestine and the US-based International Rescue Committee condemned the attack. The Israeli military previously assured the UK that the compound housing targeted in the attack is a protected humanitarian zone. UK arms sales to Israel have been under scrutiny since last December. A database from the Campaign Against the Arms Trade shows UK companies exported components for combat aircraft to Israel, potentially including F-16 components. A recent CNN investigation reveals that the Israeli military could not provide any evidence to support their claim of a tunnel beneath a Gaza cemetery. The CNN reporter Jeremy Diamond visited the former Bani Suhaila cemetery in Gaza. The cemetery has been destroyed by the Israeli military, alleging the presence of a Hamas tunnel. However, CNN's independent investigation has found no proof of the existence of the tunnel. Previously, Israeli military officials showed drone footage of tunnels near the cemetery, yet they did not provide video evidence during the CNN's investigation. When the CNN correspondent requested access to the alleged tunnel, his request was turned down. Israeli forces cited concerns about stability and sensitive equipment. CNN then used satellite imagery to find out that the tunnel's entrance was not within the cemetery grounds. The Israeli military justifies the cemetery's destruction. It alleges that Hamas used the area during the attack but does not specify what happened to the buried bodies. International law suggests that attacking a cemetery may constitute a war crime unless it serves a military objective. CNN reports that 16 Gaza cemeteries have been damaged or destroyed during the conflict, with other destructions unaccounted for by the military. U.S. military personnel in Iraq are on standby to provide ground support to Israel. The news comes as President Biden has repeatedly denied the possibility of the U.S. personnel's involvement in the Israel war on Palestine. A January memo from the U.S. Air Force obtained by The Intercept reveals orders for military readiness in Israel's war on Palestine. Experts say although the memo does not confirm imminent U.S. ground involvement, it does indicate Pentagon preparations to join the war. Last year, the U.S. military reportedly readied 2,000 troops to support Israel. While the Department of Defense has not commented on the personnel memo, the White House maintains that there are no plans for U.S. boots on the ground in Israel. The investigation shows persistent U.S. military presence in the Middle East, particularly in Iraq. Despite past announcements, U.S. troops are actively combating ISIS, recently resulting in casualties near their Syrian border. Yemen's Houthi militia has declared its intention to launch more attacks on the U.S. and British warships in the Red Sea. A statement issued by the Iran backed group says it will target all US and UK warships involved in what they consider aggression against Yemen. The Houthis have been targeting ships in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden since November 19th in response to Israel's actions in Gaza. The attacks have caused disruptions in shipping routes, increased shipping and insurance costs. The attacks are also raising fears of a wider regional conflict. The Houthis remain committed to their operations until a ceasefire is achieved in Gaza and humanitarian aid enters the enclave. In response, the US and the UK have retaliated with strikes on the Houthi targets in Yemen. The US has also designated the Houthis as specially designated global terrorists, and the European Union plans to launch its own Red Sea naval mission in February. The recent attack by an Iranian backed militia on a U.S. outpost in Jordan has raised fears of an escalation of conflict in the Middle East. 3 U.S. soldiers have been killed and more than 40 others injured in the attack. A report by the U.S. Defense published yesterday says retaliatory strikes are being prepared by the U.S. that could last for weeks. Experts believe retaliatory strikes could potentially expand the ongoing Gaza war. Iran and its Iraqi allies have moved ever closer to their long-term goals of driving U.S. troops out of Iraq. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken describes the situation as the most dangerous in the Middle East since 1973. The attack has also created a difficult situation for Jordan. Jordan is a key U.S. ally with over 3,000 U.S. troops stationed at Jordanian bases. The country is under domestic pressure to reconsider its relations with the US following US's response to Israel's war. Canada and its Western allies are denouncing the controversial victory conference held in Jerusalem. The conference was attended by high-ranking Israeli officials where discussions centered on plans for new Israeli settlements in Gaza. A statement issued by the Global Affairs Canada rejects any proposal that involves the forced displacement of Palestinians from Gaza. It called such a move detrimental to lasting peace. The White House has also expressed concern over the event. It says the rhetoric is irresponsible and contradicts Israel's stated intention to not reoccupy Gaza. France is condemning the gathering. It says it is an obligation for Israel to prevent such a gathering from taking place. The UK government says Gaza is a Palestinian territory and Israeli settlements are illegal. Despite widespread international criticism, settlement movement in Israel is gaining momentum. Meanwhile, tensions have escalated within Israel's coalition government due to this divisive event as some ministers voiced support for the conference's objectives. Today is World Hijab Day. The day calls on women worldwide to embrace the traditional Muslim head covering and fosters understanding about its significance. Nazma Khan instituted the day in 2013 to empower women to choose modesty and freely express their religious beliefs. Khan is a Bangladesh born New York resident. Khan says as a hijab wearing woman, she had to face discriminatory and derogatory labels like ninja or Batman. Wearing a hijab is not a matter of choice in certain regions. Iran and Afghanistan legally mandate women to wear hijabs, while France implemented a ban on religious symbols in public schools in 2004. Recently, the ban has been extended to headscarves. In Quebec, Canada, public servants are not allowed to wear hijabs and other religious attire or symbols. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not for profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad. Assalamu alaikum.